Hey, Mike with No Problems Gaming here. In today's video, we'll be doing a review and how to play video on Doomlings, a delightful card game for the end of the world. So let's get into it. Alright, so now that we've got the game out, let's walk you through how to play the game and the setup, and then I'll jump into my full review after that. So again, Doomlings is a very fun, lighthearted, family-friendly game where the object is to get the most points by the end of the world. And so to get points, you'll play trait cards throughout the game, and the various trait cards can work together to help you score points by the end of the world. And so to start setting up the game, it's very simple. You have these gene pool cards, and how these work, each player will get one, and they'll simply set it to 5 to start the game, but this will track how many cards you can have in your hand at the end of your turn. So again, pick your favorite color and then set it to 5, and you could do that by just having it face up in front of you. From there, what you'll want to do is take out the various catastrophe cards, and these are very simply labeled. They say catastrophe right at the top, and what you'll do is you'll shuffle these all together and set them off to the side. After that, you'll take all the ages cards, and these are very similar to the catastrophe cards. They say ages on the back, but they won't say catastrophe here at the top. So you take these, shuffle them all together, so you have them very well mixed, and then what you'll do is you'll take 3 piles and put 3 into each pile. At this point, you'll take the catastrophe cards that you'll shuffle. Again, feel free to do that one more time if you want, and then you'll randomly put 1 catastrophe card in each pile. At this point, shuffle each one of these piles up, and then you'll stack them all together, and this is basically what will happen each round throughout the game. You'll then take the Birth of Life card, and you'll put that face down on the top of the stack. At this point, you'll take the trait card pile, and you'll give each player 5 cards. And now you can set the remaining catastrophe cards and the remaining ages cards off to the side. And now you're ready to start the game. So each player will have their hand of cards, and on their turn, the first player will start the game by revealing the top ages cards, which in this case is going to be the Birth of Life. And so at this point, both players will follow what the card revealed says. So in this case, it says set the gene pool to 5, and then you can play 1 trait card each turn, and then you need to stabilize at the end of your turn. And so again, I could take any one of these trait cards from my hand and play it on my turn. Some of the cards will have action abilities that will activate when you play them. Some cards like this could be kind of a defensive card, for example, where it says you could play this from your hand at any time to prevent an action. So there's some cards like this where are kind of retaliations or a defense type card where they might be triggered when another player plays a card. There's also cards like this that are dominant traits that have the star at the top. And so these are very powerful traits, and the key to these is that you can only play 2 in total into your trait area. Another benefit of these dominant traits is that they cannot be removed from your trait area. So once they've been played, they're with you for the entire game. So they're very powerful, but again, you can only play 2 in your trait area throughout the game. So again, whatever the case might be, I can pick one of the cards to play. So let's say I do this one here. I can put that face down in front of me, and now that's in my trait area. So in this case, now that I've played my trait card, I need to stabilize. And so again, what that means is you need to draw up or discard down to the number that is currently listed on your gene pool card. So in this case, my gene pool is 5, so I would need to draw up to 5 cards. So I draw 1 more additional trait card, and that would go into my hand, and now it's going to go to the other player's turn. Same thing, they follow any rules that are indicated by the ages card. So I could play a card from my hand, 1 trait this time. So again, let's say I do this one. I've now played that card in my trait area for this player. Again, I need to stabilize, so I draw back up to 5 cards in total, because that's what my current gene pool number is. And now it goes back to the other player, but before they start their next turn, they need to reveal the next age. And so there's 2 things that can happen. One, you could reveal a catastrophe, as we did here. And so in this case, you need to follow the steps. So I'd -1 gene pool, and these affect all players. So again, in this case, I would reduce my gene pool down to 4. Same thing with this player, down to 4. then I would continue on with the catastrophe card. So I would stabilize, meaning that both players would have to discard down to 4 cards or make sure they had 4 cards. So again, discard with this player, go to the other one. Let's say we discard this one, and we continue on. And now it says then discard 1 card from your hand. So I need to do all the steps that are listed here. So again, I'll have to discard another one. So let's say I do this one with this guy. And let's say this player will get rid of this card. Now, if it's the first or second catastrophe to come up, you will ignore this World's End that is listed here. This only occurs when it's the third catastrophe to come up, and that also will end the game. So in this case, I've done the top items, and then players would play their hand like normal. Another option that could come up is just a regular age. And so in this case, it's the Age of Reason. And so again, I would just simply follow the steps listed here on the card. So if it's not a catastrophe, it would simply come up, and you keep doing this pile until a catastrophe comes up. But let's say in this case it was the next round and this was the next age I drew, I would start a new pile. And so again, I would continue to take turns playing as players, continue to flip through the ages every turn until the second catastrophe came up, and then we'd start the next pile. And then once that third catastrophe comes up, in this case it's the Mega Tsunami. And so again, you follow the steps here on the card, and then you also activate the World's End. And so once you've gone through that order on the World's End card, players will tally their points and score the game. So one of the easiest ways to score points at the end of the game is to follow the steps here listed on the card. So again, you can tally the points from a final catastrophe. So if this card was -1 point or something to that effect, you could tally that number. So calculate the effects caused by the final catastrophe in the World's End. Next, you'll just count the face values on all the trait cards. And then finally, you'll calculate any trait bonuses. So some cards with this little teardrop symbol, you'll simply go through and count any extra points that might be occurring because of a trait on a specific card. So in this case, you would get +1 for each different color in your hand at the end of the game. And so again, players will count their score, and the player with the highest score wins the game. Each player will also have this turn order reference card, which has some helpful rules on it. So definitely keep these close at hand and consult the rulebook if you have any other questions. But overall, that's how you play Doomlings. So now that you have a better idea on how the game works, we'll jump into my review. Alright, well now that you have a better idea on how the game works and how it's played, how do I actually feel about it? Well, Doomlings is a really fun card game. It's simple to play and easy to learn. It really only takes a few minutes to learn the game, and depending on the number of players, it can take anywhere from 15 minutes to 45 minutes to play a game. It should be really easy to find as it's recently been released at Target and Walmart, but you can find it online as well. I also think it's great for the whole family. There's a lot of funny, fun cards within the game that everyone can enjoy, and because it is so easy to learn, I think it'll be easy to play for younger players. But also, a lot of the cards will play off each other, so it can get pretty strategic if you really want to rack up those points at the end of the world. Another thing that's pretty cool is that each game comes with its own unique holo card. So if you're into collecting trading cards like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or any of the many that are out there, you might enjoy that element to the game as well, as you will get a random foil card with each pack. Another thing that I really like about the game is the fact that it has a very high replay value, and each gameplay session is going to be a totally different experience every time you play. The reason for this is that each time you play the game, the different ages cards that come up will totally be randomized, as well as the catastrophes that might come up during your game will be totally different. Where in some play sessions, certain cards that you pair together might work very well depending on the catastrophes that are played, but in another game session, that same combination might not work as well if a different set of catastrophes are played. Also, how the game ends up can really depend on the cards that you're given and how you play them, as well as playing against what the other players are doing. So like I said, it's easy to learn and quick to play, but the strategy can get pretty deep if you really want to dive into the cards and play combos off of other cards. So I really like that aspect of the game, where even though it is family friendly and fun for the whole family, if you are more of a hardcore gamer and like strategy games, you can really think multiple turns deep with the cards that you're playing, and I really enjoy that. But overall, I really enjoyed the artwork. I think the game is a lot of fun. It works well for 2 players and works well for multiple players beyond that, up to 6 players as well. So no matter how many players you have to play the game, it's still a lot of fun. So if you like lighthearted card games, that are simple to learn, fast to play, and are fun for beginner players and even skilled gamers, I would definitely recommend checking out Doomlings. But let me know in the comments below if you've played this game yet. If you think it looks fun, if you're going to pick up a copy, let me know in the comments below. And if you did want to pick up a copy, there'll be a link in the description below where you can pick up a copy. But if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, definitely check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.